Hey everyone, this time we are going to be talking about Steel Empire on the Sega Genesis. This game is a lot of fun. It's a side-scrolling shooter that's got a kind of an interesting, story behind it. The Motorhead Empire is invading, and you need to use your cool little Zeppelin fighter to fight back against a bunch of other kind of steampunk-like enemies. It's pretty awesome. This was one of those games that I didn't know anything about when I picked it up, and even after I started playing it, if I can remember correctly, I just thought it was very weird, because you're either playing as a Zeppelin, or you're playing as a biplane, and you're fighting back against a bunch of other stuff, which kind of looked like, I didn't know what the word steampunk was at the time, but that's pretty much what I was looking at, without really fully understanding what I was looking at. This is one of those shooters, or just in general one of those games that you find when you're out game hunting. You might not know anything about it. Maybe you rented it when you were a kid or something like that, but you play it and it's just, for some weird reason, it just is able to stand out a lot better than other shooters that I've played. Maybe it's the atmosphere, maybe it's the fact that you're playing as a frickin' Zeppelin. I think that probably has something to do with it. It's just a lot of fun to play. The only weird thing that I don't really know how I feel about it. I shouldn't say that I don't like it, because I think it is kind of fun. The fact that you have to kind of switch in between shooting forward and shooting backward. It's both kind of fun and also a little annoying at the same time. The game does a pretty good job of letting you know, hey, you might want to change the direction that you're shooting, but it's still kind of annoying at times. Especially during the boss fights, it does a very good job of letting you know the boss is moving to one side. You're going to have to stop holding down the C button, and you're going to have to switch over to holding down the A button. At least it tells you, or at least it gives you like some sort of a visual indication that you should be doing that. Oh, and then you have your lightning bombs, which is kind of what I've called them. They're just your usual super bombs that clear the entire screen and whatnot. You use those by pressing the B button. It's fine. Like I mentioned, you have two ships to choose from, the biplane or the Zeppelin. They've got different stats, so it is kind of fun to mess around with it. I tend to find the biplane to be a little bit more fun on some levels. Then when I get to the cave section, I really should just give up, because that one is just a pain in the ass. So there were no sequels to this game that I could find. It was ported quite a few times. So there was a GBA port, but that one was only in Japan and in Europe. And then there was the GBA one was in about 2004, I believe. 1 second. Yeah, 2004 in Japan and 2005 in PAL regions. And then in 2014, 2015, it was released on the DS and 3DS. There was some talk about a sequel called Burning Steel. I can't find any indication that ever really happened. There was a Windows port in 2018, and that's kind of the end of the line for the game. It hasn't really done anything since then. Steel Empire is one of those games I wish would come back in some form. The Burning Steel, which was supposed to be the title of their gritty reboot, which just confused me a little bit, because how do you make a gritty reboot of a war game already that wasn't as colorful as some games could have been? It kind of looked like sort of a grimy, a little bit gritty game, but 90s grimy and gritty. Not really grunge, but something like that. I do wish this game would come back in some form. It would be great to get more games like this, or more games in the Steel Empire kind of universe. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing to the channel. Talk to you all later. Bye.